And Pledge of Allegiance. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everybody. We'll move to item D, the approval of minutes. In the absence of any objections or corrections, the minutes shall stand approved from the June 3rd, 2024 regular council meeting. I am hearing none. They will stand approved. Item E, citizen communication. If there is anyone in attendance tonight that would like to address council on anything that is outside of the agenda, feel free to come forward at this point. We'll be happy to take your comments. If you don't mind. Yes, sir.
Over there, Joel, that way we can get you out.
I signed it already.
Perfect.
Thank you, Ross. You pass those around, Cody. They're structured. I am here, and I'd like to underline one thing, that I am here not representing the Chamber of Commerce. I'm here as a private citizen and a representative of an organization called Safe Haven LLC, which is a local group here. And our organization has been working for quite some time now. In fact, it really started to pick up steam when we were talking about the residents who were out at the old hotel on the north end of Napoleon, and where the people would go that were living there on a regular basis and didn't have any other options in town or within a radius of us to be able to still get to work, still live their lives, things like that. And so what you have before you is a small packet of something that our organization is discussing potentially doing, and one of the things that we would need to work on with the city of Napoleon is to pick up the ability to place those pallet homes, pallet facilities is what they are called, within the city of Napoleon. Currently, you're not allowed to do that with ADU regulations and things like that. And so what these are temporary structures that are purchased from the pallet company. As you can see, they're on stands. They can be easily moved with a forklift. So we've been discussing this as an option to be able to provide heated and cooled space in a respectful way for those who are in need of emergency housing. And what we're talking about right now is doing a potential of 3 of those facilities, which are, one-bed facilities. There are some larger ones that are 2-bed, and then there is a communal bathroom facility that is of the same material that would be located on any potential location for that could be used by those folks. Our wish is that we could start a conversation with the city of Napoleon and to be able to potentially do this project. Our goal long-term is for something more permanent than this. But we feel that this would be a great possibility for the city of Napoleon because of its temporary nature. We would be able to move those around if the location where we would locate those is suddenly made available for sale to someone else. We could move those to another location. That land that we were on wouldn't have permanent structures placed down on it. These would be temporary, easily movable, that kind of thing. We're not asking for funds from the city of Napoleon. We'll do fundraisers for that aside from this, but we'd really request, Safe Haven would, that we maybe move this to committee within you guys, to have that committee work closely with our organization to be able to talk a little bit about whether this would be feasible for the city of Napoleon or not. With 3 units and beyond, we don't feel that we would be bringing people from all over Northwest Ohio for this, where we have already in place a number of restrictions to who those properties would be available to, who could use those. We would work in depth with Pillars for Success, with Kelly Burkhardt and her crew to be able to watch over these facilities and work with the people. The locations that we are considering would be close to work for them and also close to health and human service agencies and other places to get the help that they may need, get them navigated through to be able to get them back on their feet and moving through to being tax-paying citizens and, you know, back on their feet in a normal apartment or whatever it may be. And we've been, like I said, we've gone through a number of different, I guess, iterations of this. Some of those who have been on council for a while may remember when we came and talked about the wetlands area that was north, and we were thinking of building, it's the same group of people, we were thinking of building stick-built structures on that, and it just didn't work out at the time financial-wise. COVID hit and the world changed. So this is a new option for us, and be able to get us to serve those folks, get them out of the cold come this winter is our hope, and give them a chance to be in a heated location and get their families back and get themselves back in the area. So that would be our request from Safe Haven, that we could at least talk about this within committee, if you guys see that to be a good measure to do. If you're interested, I can answer more questions on that. Like I said, you've got 3 different views of that in there. One is a side view, one is an interior view, and the other one is in Fayetteville, Arkansas. That small situation. There are villages like these all over the country. They're mainly focused on the West Coast, but there are some in cold climates. You know, that was one of the things we were worried about, is how are these going to weather the cold, because that's our main concern, is to be able to keep these folks warm and out of their vehicles and so on.
Council President,
Yes, sir.
just to avoid any ethics issues or give full transparency, I am a part of that board for Safe Haven, so I won't participate in any conversation or votes that would involve Safe Haven or the changing of the zoning.
Thank you, sir. Joel, you answered my only question on where this kind of complex is located currently.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely worth discussion internally, and maybe if we could do our own research
Sure.
before we send it to a committee. Not opposed to the idea, but certainly think that there's some more education on our side that we could do before we send it to a committee, if that's okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's at your discretion. You know, our feeling is that there could be legislation drafted on this that protected the city from opening up any kind of precedent towards people, you know, putting up sheds in their backyard and things like that, which none of us as citizens of Napoleon want to see, and we don't want to see a Wild West with this. We feel that there could be something drafted within you guys' walls to be able to protect the city and also potentially be able to do this. So yeah, that there you'll be able to Google search that Pallet Home website, and there are many case studies on there. The different models are there. It'd be very easy to do, and you know, as you do it, if there are any questions that you have, feel free to contact myself. Jason Mazel is the president of the board. I'm the vice president. Feel free to contact us to ask any kind of questions, and we would be more than happy to answer.
Are
Dr.
you aware
Dave?
of any communities in Ohio?
There are none currently in Ohio. Wisconsin and Toronto-ish, you know, suburbs of Toronto are the nearest ones in the Midwest that do it. There are some in Vermont, Massachusetts. There are some towards the East Coast, but like I said, the majority of them are on the West Coast. This company is located on the West Coast. I know that in our prior discussions, Commissioner Glenn Miller had been to a national conference and had seen a presentation by these folks and was intrigued by them as well. So he had seen them up close and personal. You know, I think that was on the West Coast as well, if I remember right from what he was saying.
Okay. Any other questions from council?
On average, individuals that do need the assistance in getting into the housing here, how long till most of them get back up on their feet? How many are never able to press forward?
It's variable. We already have had a lot of discussion on that, because with the small number of units, we want to be able to move people forward as quickly as possible through the process. I think we were talking 6 months that they would be eligible to stay in one of these, and then, we would have to graduate them up if possible to another apartment or whatever it may be. But we're not looking at this to be long-term housing for anyone at any point in time.
And I notice, well, the walkways and it's underneath the houses, that's not concrete.
That's not what we're considering. We're considering stone for ours. This is just an option. Stone base, and then put that on there. There would be nothing permanent on the properties that we're looking at, other than us improving with the utilities, running the water and electricity to whatever area they end up in. We do not have a property currently. We wanted to address this before we got to that point. So that's just an example of how a community has done it. We would not be looking at anything as permanent as that.
So who are the people that are backing this type of housing?
In other communities or
Well,
here?
Here.
Here, we've already had discussion with a number of churches and health and human service agencies to be able to do this. Each one of those is around $40,000 to be able to, with the delivery charge and things like that, to put them up and then take care of it. So, we're looking at around $170,000 to begin with. And once we get one, our thought is that we'd get one in, put it on the back of a trailer and tour it around on Sundays to various churches and say, this is what we're looking at doing. Is there a way that you'd be, willing to help as a congregation to do this? So that's where we see a lot of our base with this, that and human service agencies, whether it be, NOCAC or whoever it may be that may have some funding for that.
Where are people housed now that have the need?
All over the place. Our concern is this time of the year, other than it being 100 degrees outside, a lot of them are living in their cars or down by the river or under overpasses and bridges, that kind of thing. I mean, that's where Kelly Burkhardt is our main contact with that as board members. Those are the people that we're looking to address for this, is to be able to get them. Some may choose to live that life and live in a tent in the woods. Great, but that's not who we're looking to address with this. So it's people who have, whether they lost their rent and they're out, and they don't have another place to go to, they don't have a deposit, they don't have anything, they don't have any other options. Maybe they're just coming back from some sort of, time in, incarceration. We don't know. There's a number of them, and with only 3, there's going to be a process where we're vetting those people to have them in there, because that will not solve the problem that we have here. It will hopefully put a dent in it, but it will not solve the problem, and we understand that.
Joe, to ask you the question again.
Sure.
The management, the supervision of the units primarily falls upon who after, say, it started?
We envision a fenced-in area like that is cameras. We would work with law enforcement to be able to do this, but the main supervision of the property would be through the Pillars for Success Group. And they would be working with them on the day-to-day basis. Henry County Cares out of the Health Department is another organization that could be, we've had some initial discussions with them, as far as their navigators and people like that, they may already be working with a lot of these people. They're going to be familiar with them most probably, so. Yeah.
With each of these pallet houses, what's the estimated lifespan of the unit?
I believe they're 6 years.
So it lasts.
Longer than that. I'm getting word in from my people that they're longer than that. They're quite a while. They're like a polycarbonate material, so they're a sturdy. The nice thing about it is somebody moves out, we walk in and spray the thing down basically, and the cleanup is easy. There's no painting. It's, as you see by that second picture in the packet, it's self-contained, and though that move that furniture out, those temporary structures out, clean it out, hose it down, move in the next group at that point in time. But there is, even in the cold, because we've had quite a bit of discussion with the company that makes these, because there are so few in the cold. That's our concern, You know, we want to have a nice viable structure that will last a while in our weather. In, you know, if there's snow laying on top of it, the weight of the snow on top of the roof, you know, things like that that we've taken into consideration with this, that are our concerns.
Any other questions? Okay. Joel, thank you.
Yes, thank you all. Thank you for your time. Sorry to slow you down for the day. I remember sitting in Jen's seat thinking, oh, somebody's here to talk. Hopefully they talk about us. Thanks, you guys.
Thanks
Yeah.
again. Okay, we'll move to item F, reports from council committees. F1, the electric committee did not meet on June 10th due to lack of agenda items. F2, the water, sewer, refuse, recycling, and litter committee did meet on June 10th, 2024. Mr. Hayes.
We recommend the council to approve the water and sewer rules, specifically Rule 5 on special services and Rule 32 on fees, and also recommended to council to approve the Campbell's wastewater contract.
Thank you, sir. F3, the Municipal Properties Building Land Use and Economic Development Committee did not meet on June 10th, 2024 due to lack of agenda items. And F4, the Parks and Recreation Committee did not meet earlier tonight due to lack of agenda items. Item H, introduction of new ordinances and resolutions. H1, resolution number 018-24, a resolution authorizing the transfer of certain property to wit, approximately 7.71 acres, more or less of real property, parcel number 28-070032.0202, owned by the City of Napoleon, to Community Improvement Corporation of Henry County, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. Is there a motion?
Motion?
Second?
Thank you. Andy?
Thank you, Council President. This went through the committee and Municipal Properties Committee, and was one of 5 parcels that I discussed that there may be some movement on in the future. This actually is composed of 7.71 acres that we will be transferring to the CIC. The CIC acts as our economic development entity for sale of properties without bid. This particular parcel, you can see the large triangular parcel. It's actually the 2.774 acres at the top of the triangular parcel. It is part of the CORF, what we call a CORF property, which is Clean Ohio Revitalization Funds. This property was cleaned up around 20 years ago. It currently allows for industrial and commercial use, no residential development on the property. So it falls into that category. There is also an eagle's nest within 660 feet of this property, which can limit the use of the property. The prospective buyer was made aware of both of those issues because there are reporting requirements that go along with it being a CORF property. The company, as I said, was interested in just the 2.77 acres. It's United Crane. They are out of Hastings, Michigan, and they moved to Holgate a few years ago and have operated over there, but they need more space. This business provides several different services. They move oversized loads, they dismantle buildings for resale, store and sell industrial equipment, and this property will be primarily utilized as a storage area for some of those buildings on a temporary basis, as well as some of the heavy equipment. This split would only sell the 2.774 acres, as I said, and will leave almost 5 acres for further development. I had a meeting with Jen Arps the other day, and she was excited about that opportunity as well, because that property is adjacent to a railroad siding, so that's certainly a marketable property left over. The parcel split has been complete, as you can see by the drawing, and is currently at the courthouse, and by now, I believe each parcel will have a separate parcel number, so we will only be selling off the 2.77 acres. With that, I ask council to approve the sale of this. I would like to ask for suspension on this so we can get it moving. They're very anxious to get things started out there. His business is moving very quickly, and he would like to acquire this as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Andy. Any questions or comments from council?
So we have 2 parcel numbers now, and we have 1 parcel number in the legislation?
One parcel number in the legislation that's going over to the CIC, so they will retain that.
Okay.
And
But I guess what is going to be, but it now exists as 2 parcel numbers.
I believe it does. I don't know that for a fact, but I believe it does. It's been over there for a couple of weeks, so I think by now it's probably been assigned parcel numbers.
I suppose we can come back and fix it if it is 2 parcel numbers.
Okay.
That's the thing we talked about.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
And if it no longer exists as the one property under the 1 parcel number, are we doing this correctly?
rather than just transferring the one parcel number that we're actually
Well,
selling.
we could transfer the entire thing still, but if it exists now as 2 parcels, then we would need to update the legislation to include 2 parcel numbers.
Yeah, if I just checked today on the auditor's website, it does not show as 2 parcels, but as I said, we completed our portion of the split and sent it over there for them to work their magic on it to assign 2 parcels. That was a couple weeks ago.
And we've not heard anything back. So
I've heard nothing back.
Clarification.
Yes, sir.
Are we transferring the whole triangle there, or just this 2.7?
Transferring the entire parcel according to this legislation.
And that right now, according to your research, has 1
Correct.
parcel.
Correct, which is referenced.
And
in
if
the
we pass
legislation.
it tonight under emergency and suspend,
Right.
even if, it would be the dating, because you looked on the site is accurate. I'm assuming it's accurate. It may not be split yet, but if we did it more than the emergency and suspension, it may very well split by then. And then we'd have to restart.
That's
Yeah,
true.
that's fine.
If you have confidence that it's right now still 1 because the auditor's website says so, and we suspend and or do the emergency and suspend the rules, it's done. And they get the whole parcel as it sets.
And as far as I know, as late as this afternoon, looking on the auditor's website, it's still 1 parcel.
I mean, is that a way out? Because if we wait another meeting, it's gonna split. Should it split by then?
I would think so.
Would that be safe?
I think it is. Yeah. I mean, the absolute worst case scenario is we have to come back and do it all over again, which is just another piece of legislation. With 2 parcel numbers now, and this one becomes essentially meaningless because it's got the old parcel number on it. That's the worst case scenario.
Where would the CIC run into that roadblock if we've officially transferred to them tonight? How would they run into that roadblock when they apply for, do they have to apply
I
then?
don't know that they will run into the roadblock. By the time they get it and start through the process, it may very well be split at the
So
auditor's
we-
office.
So we would be fairly safe right now to take care of the whole thing tonight, not bring it back to another meeting. And we're giving it to ourselves anyway in the CIC.
I think it's safe to do it this way. It's just, it may require, depending on the timing, that I draft another piece of legislation, bring it to you and explain, hey, it actually had split. And the thing we thought we were transferring didn't transfer because that parcel number.
Well, you've asked for emergency
Correct,
and request suspension,
correct.
so
Once the
I just wanted the
legislation's
clarification
signed-
that it is the whole thing and
Yeah.
not just the half.
Right.
Then it seems fairly, I feel
Transferring-
comfortable with
Yeah,
that. as long
transferring
as
the one
the
and
director feels
then-
comfortable.
I mean, I'm comfortable with it, just with the understanding that depending on the timing, we may have to bring an entirely new piece of legislation back because the timing didn't work out for us, and now we have to transfer these 2 new parcels to the CIC in order to do what we had intended to do in the first place.
Gotcha, thank you.
Thanks for the clarification. Any other questions before I request a motion for suspension? Is there a motion for suspension?
Move suspension.
Second.
Thank you, sir. Michaela, please call the roll on suspension, please.
Ross?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Dr. D?
Yes.
Brittany? Yes.
Please call the roll on the resolution.
Ross?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Dr. D?
Yes.
Brittany? Yes.
Okay. That will pass on first read under suspension, under emergency. Item H2, resolution number 019-24, a resolution authorizing the city of Napoleon to remain in the Maumee Valley East CHIP Consortium in order to submit an application for the fiscal year 2024 Community Housing Improvement Program CHIP funds to the Ohio Development Services Agency and declaring an emergency. Is there a motion?
A motion?
Thank you. Andy?
And Council President, I will request suspension on this piece of legislation as well. This particular legislation permits us entering into an agreement to remain in the Maumee Valley East CHIP Consortium. This is with Fulton County, Henry County, the City of Waseon, and the City of Napoleon. It's a community housing improvement program, which is utilized for funds for improvements to low and moderate income households. One thing I did learn in speaking with Liz Keel, who is the administrator for the program, just this past week, is that the Lead Safe Ohio service line replacement, this money can be utilized for that. So I think that's good news. And I did hear from her this week. I received this information very late, and which is why I'm asking for suspension, because it all has to be signed and returned to them by today, but I got it pushed to tomorrow, so.
Perfect. Any questions or comments from council? Is there a motion for suspension?
Move suspension.
I'll second.
Thank you. Michaela, please call the roll on suspension, please.
Ross?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Dr. D? Yes.
And please call the roll on the resolution.
Ross?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Dr. D?
Yes.
Brittany? Yes.
Okay. That will pass on first read under suspension, under emergency. Item H3, ordinance number 024-24, an ordinance approving current March 2023 through April 2024 replacement pages to the City of Napoleon codified ordinances. Is there a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Andy.
Council President, this is the semi-annual update from American Legal Publishing for our codified ordinances. There are 193 replacement pages that were in your council packet this week, which is why it slowed it down when you were trying to load it. And all those have been submitted with the changes, and I just ask for approval to add these pages to the codified ordinances.
Questions or comments? I'm hearing none. Michaela, please call the roll.
Ross?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Dr. D?
Yes.
Brittany? Yes.
All right, that will move to second read. We will also move to second read. Item I1, ordinance number 017-24, an ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a water purchase contract between the City of Napoleon, Ohio and the Village of Holgate, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. Andy?
Yes, Council President. I had initially thought I would ask for suspension on this legislation this evening, but I was notified last Thursday that due to some issues that the engineering firm had with the contract, Holgate has requested a couple of minor modifications to the contract. Again, this is a 30-year contract. with a 25-year opt-out clause, which gets us through the debt service on the water treatment plant. It's the same rate as Florida and Malinta, but Holgate has requested a modification to the contract specifically for their membership on the Water Rate Review Commission. The engineering firm questioned who appointed that person. I thought it was quite clear in the contract. We didn't have that issue with either Malinta nor Florida, but I have told them that I would add specific language in there in regard to Holgate appointing that person to the Water Rate Review Commission. The second item was a notification requirement in terms of if their daily allowance or increase jumps up more than 500, and currently is written, if it jumps up more than 500,000 gallons, if they had one single user is going to utilize that much, that they have to notify us. And that's basically to protect us, protect the system. And we just want to make sure we do our due diligence and that the purchaser cannot or will not provide additional measures or compensation to fully mitigate the adverse impact, or there would be an adverse impact on the seller's water system, including but not limited to pressure, flow, quality, necessity for reconfiguration of water delivery points, et cetera. Those were already written into the contract. They wanted that increased from 500,000 gallons to 900,000 gallons. And I talked with Jeff Weiss today, our water treatment supervisor and superintendent, and Jeff said that would be no problem to bump it up to 900,000 gallons. So if any single user, if they take on any single user that's going to increase their rate by 900,000 gallons per month, then they have to notify us. So that was the other change that they would like to see in the contract. So with that said, there are no other changes to the contract. I would ask for council's approval to move forward to amend the contract with those changes, and then ask for council's approval on second read.
Questions from council?
So, just a moment. The legislation itself doesn't need amending.
That's correct.
Okay, so then the council doesn't need to move to amend the
Legislation.
The legislation itself says substantially in the form as currently on file in somebody's office, probably the finance director's office. So the legislation itself doesn't need amended, now that council understands that the contract will be slightly amended.
Okay.
And I think you weren't asking for suspension.
I am not, that's correct.
Thank you, Billy. Any questions or comments before we vote on the second read here? Okay, I'm hearing none. Michaela, please call the roll.
Ross.
Yes.
Yes.
Bob.
Yes.
Jordan.
Yes.
Yes.
Dr. Dave.
Yes.
Brittany.
Yes.
Okay. That will move to third read. Item J, third reading of ordinances and resolutions. J1, resolution number 016-24, a resolution extending the provisions contained in resolution number 057-23, wherein council impose an immediate moratorium on the issuance and processing of permits allowing retail dispensaries, cultivators, or processors of adult use marijuana within the city of Napoleon, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. Is there a motion?
No motion.
Second?
Thank you. Andy?
And once again, Council President, this just continues the moratorium to the December 31st, 2024 date. No changes to the legislation.
Any update from the state on when we should hear
I have heard nothing.
some sort of
So
update?
I think, and this doesn't really affect us, but some of the medical marijuana distributors will start to see some approved licenses here shortly. I think this month, actually, maybe early next month, depending on the location. But like I said, that doesn't affect us. I've not heard any updates as to a solid set of rules or how they plan to proceed with everybody else after that. So when I know, you get.
Okay. Thank you.
So the process that OML talked through, are they still moving down that, going through the lottery, the pin placement,
They're
that
going through
whole?
yeah, I mean, they're still.
But that has not become law where it's.
No, and they still haven't drafted a set of rules either.
Okay.
For a lot of that. I think that the rules that are in place currently have to do with giving licenses for adult use cannabis to people who already sell it, the
Yes.
medical marijuana places. And like I said, we don't have any of those here, so we're waiting for the rest of the rules and
Okay.
the rest of the law, yeah.
So they're doing their side, but we don't have the law in
We
place
don't
to
have any-
actually say that, yes, that's what it's going to be.
No.
Okay. And we don't believe that having this in place is going to stop, at this point, anybody from inquiring, or
No,
if
I
there
mean,
was interest in our area, we don't believe that this would completely halt their process and put them
I
in a
guess I
bad
can't,
position.
yeah, I guess I can't speak for potential businesses, but I think having this in place
Protects our
the
side.
city to ensure that we can fully understand what's going to be put in place before we make a decision.
Thank you, Billy. Any other questions or comments? Okay, Michaela, please call the roll. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
That will pass on third read under emergency. We'll move to item K, good of the city. K1, discussion or action, approval of the power supply cost adjustment factor for June 2024 as PSCA 3-month average factor 0.01634 and JV2 0.026886. Andy.
Yes, Council President, there is nothing remarkable or significant about the rate this month. As a matter of fact, it's almost exactly the same as what it was last month.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, sir.
Second?
Thank you. Michaela, please call the roll. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that will be approved. K2, discussion or action, OPWC grant application. Andy, turn it over to you on that one.
Yes, thank you, and I will defer to Chad on this one.
This is a piece of legislation that's required for us to make an application to the Ohio Public Works Commission for grant funding. Those applications are due in September. As part of that application, we're required to have a piece of legislation that gives the city manager permission to apply for and accept funds. So this is just a document we require every summer. So this is just the same document we've passed for the last 20-plus years. But we will need it, and we're bringing it early so we aren't forced to go to emergency suspension. So
Perfect.
just asking for approval to have the law director draft it so we can include it in our submission in early September.
Thank you, Chad.
Yep.
Any questions or comments? Is there a motion to draft the law director to draft legislation?
All motion?
Second.
Thank you. Michaela, please call the roll. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Item K3, discussion or action to approve the modification to the water sewer rules, specifically Rule 5, special services, hose meters and hydrant meters, and Rule 32, fees. Andy.
Yes, Council President, I recently sat down with my operations folks as well as my Director of Public Works to go over these rules because they had some comments and concerns regarding them to make sure the city was protected. We've brought that forth to the committee last week, and the committee approved of those rule changes, and I would like to bring that forth in legislation.
Any questions or comments?
It was unanimous approval by both the Water and the Board of Public Affairs.
Thank you. Okay, is there a motion to direct the law director?
Motion.
Second?
Thank you. Michaela, please call the roll. Yes.
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 All right. K4, discussion or action to approve entering into a contract with the Campbell Soup Company to accept their wastewater. Andy, I'll turn it over to you again on this one.
Yeah, the wastewater treatment superintendent, Jeremy Oakley, as well as Chad, my public works director, and I worked with Campbell's over the last few months to try and come up with some agreement to accept their wastewater. Again, I presented this to committee and the Board of Public Affairs last week, and both approved to move forward with it. So I would ask that you request the law director draft legislation accordingly.
Any questions or comments? Okay. Is there a motion to direct the law director?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. Michaela, please call the roll. Yes.
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 Abstain.
Yes.
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 Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item K5, discussion or action, the utilization of state contract pricing for the 2024 crack ceiling project. Get down to Chad.
As everyone's aware, with the budget each year, we to perform crack sealing throughout town, those locations as determined by the operations superintendent and myself. The state contract we utilize requires legislation from council to use that state contract. We will stay within our budget numbers, but be able to use this state contract pricing, need legislation from council. They submitted a sample which we've given to the law department, so with your direction, they'll be able to draft the legislation we need to be able to get this state contract pricing.
Perfect. Thank you, Chad. Any questions or comments? Is there a motion to direct the law director?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Michaela, please call the roll. Yes.
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 Billy's going to be a busy week. Item K6, discussion or action, second quarter budget adjustments. Kevin?
Yeah, this is something that we ask for every quarter prior to the meeting. This just allows the law director to enact a legislation followed by the committee that meets next Monday.
Is there a motion to direct the law director?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you, sir. Michaela, please call the roll. Yes.
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 And K7, discussion or action to accept donations to the fire department.
Yes, as many, if not all of you may know, last month, Bill Snyder passed away. He was the owner of Snyder Auto Group. And Bill's widow Terry sent a check to the city in the amount of $1,550 for the Napoleon City Fire Department in Bill's memory.
Is there a
Motion to accept the donation.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Michaela, please call the roll. Yes.
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 Okay, that will be accepted. And thank you to the Snyder family for the donation. We'll go around the table real quick. Kevin, I will start on your side tonight.
Sorry I had to step out for a moment, but just want to appreciate the confidence that the council gave me to be able to attend the APPA conference on behalf as the AMP board member last week. It was a very well-attended, very good conference about public power, and I can just vouch that it was had some very good meetings that we had about different aspects of what's going on a broad level, from economic to how the federal government's going to act throughout the rest of the year, to how to communicate with your citizens and getting various ideas on how other public power entities do certain type of things in their communities. So again, I appreciate giving me the confidence of being able to go, and if you want to know more specifics, I'll be more than happy to talk to you about it.
Thank you, Kevin. Tom?
Just the Finance and Budget Committee meeting Monday, we'll move that time to 5:30 PM.
Kayla, you got that one? Thank you, ma'am. Anything else, Tom?
That would be it, thank you.
Okay. After Dave?
Nothing tonight.
Brittany? I'll just echo what Kevin said. The APPA conference went very well, I thought. Picked up some best practices on my end to deal with supply chain issues, and we're certainly not the only community facing that challenge, so some ways to overcome that. Also, keeping up with some federal regulation updates. It's always nice to have some advice from that perspective and how to deal with the EPA and different regulations. So, beneficial conference. It's always a learning opportunity, so thank you again to council. That's all I had. Mr. Hayes?
I have nothing.
Ms. White?
Nothing for me.
Jordan?
Nothing to say?
Billy?
Do we need to get the 2025 tax budget over to the auditor here shortly?
That will be in the Finance and Budget Committee, so you're correct, yes.
Okay.
And so that'll be part of the legislation that you'll do after the Finance and Budget.
Okay, yeah, it's drafted. I just was worried. I'm like, we're running out of time here.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Andy?
I have nothing.
Okay. We'll move to item L, approve payment of bills and financial reports. In the absence of any objections or corrections, the payment of bills and financial reports shall stand approved. I'm hearing none, they'll stand approved. And is there a motion for adjournment, please?
No motion?
Thank you. Michaela, please call the roll. Yes.
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 We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
See you on Monday.